This crispy chicken is from a taco place.
This crispy chicken is from a taco place?
The taco place?
Taco place. It comes in a burrito, too?
From your taco place, it's also a chicken place that's also a taco place.
Check out the all-new Blue and Orange store at the Boise State Hall of Fame. The Blue and Orange store has your best game day gear. We're talking jerseys, hats, bumper stickers, car flags, more than 4,000 hats on the hat wall. If you want the best Boise State gear, make sure you check out the Blue and Orange store online at theblueandorangestore.com or the all-new Blue and Orange store down at the Boise State Allen Noble Hall of Fame.
It's the fall kickoff sale at Lithia Ford of Boise. It's the best time to trade in and trade up to a new Ford truck or SUV with the room to haul your payload or playload. Visit Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
Bronco fans, the new Boise State trading cards are here, and you can only get them at Jackson's.
Start collecting them today.
Jackson's, let's go!
And final blade of grass. Done. And done. Who knew it'd take 2,007 man-hours to paint 47,962,053 blades of grass? Smells like game day. Whoa, it's not dry yet.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Bronco Nation News Live is the only daily show that talks nothing but Boise State sports. And we do it with you. Give us your comments or questions in the ICCU YouTube chat. Or leave us a voicemail on the Signature Roofing voice inbox at speakpipe.com/BNN. BNN Live is presented by our title sponsor, RoadPaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics, and our major sponsors, Jackson's, Taco Bell, Idaho Central Credit Union, Lithia Ford of Boise, and the Blue and Orange Store. For more coverage of Boise State athletics, check out the all-new BroncoNationNews.com, now part of the 247 Sports family. Now, here's five-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Welcome to BNN Live. BJ Rains is having technical difficulties on a Friday morning. He's going to join us here shortly. BNN Live. It's Fresno State week. It's Boise State week. We're going to talk about the game tomorrow, 1:30 Albertson Stadium. It's going to be a spectacular day weather-wise, and there's lots of storylines about this game. Boise State's offense, Fresno State's defense. How's it going to turn out? But more important today, guys, we're going to talk about Spencer Danielson in our press conference with him yesterday. We show up at Thursday press conferences with Spencer Danielson, and it's usually about nuts and bolts of the Friday or the Saturday game, a few things here, a few things there, and it's not really that important. But our buddy BJ Rains started a pretty intense conversation about job offers, Spencer Danielson's place in the job market, and we even dipped into a few other issues as well yesterday in terms of freshmen. How much is he paying the freshmen? Lots of issues that we're going to talk about today, but BNN Live, appreciate it, guys, and BJ is going to join us here shortly. Who wakes up on Halloween morning, on Halloween Friday, actually, and has laptop problems and computer problems? So you guys are stuck with me. let's time BJ. Let's do an over-under on like 45 seconds, 90 seconds. He said it would be 30 seconds. We're already deep into that computer problems. And I think maybe he's trick-or-treating this morning and getting ready for that. Maybe he's putting on his costume. If BJ Rains shows up late for his BNN live show on Halloween morning, does that mean he's getting ready for a costume? We'll see how that turns out, guys. So, but appreciate you sticking with me. Appreciate you sticking with us, and cannot wait to get after it. So send us your comments. Send us your points. Somebody says, welcome to Prater points. What is that? That sounds like a good, from Boise Squid. Welcome to Prater's points. I think we need to sell that and get a new column idea out of that sucker. So BJ, can you handle that? Put that on your list of things to do when you join us and show us up. But let's talk about the Fresno State game. Let's get after it, guys. And the one thing about Fresno State that we've talked about all week long is the defense and how good of a defense they are on paper. But is Fresno State a paper tiger? I think that's a big, big issue going into this game in terms of what they are. Look at their schedule. It's not very good. They played San Diego State last week, the first really good team that they played, and they didn't even score points. They got shut out for the first time in the history of their home stadium. So that's an outlier for me in terms of what you expect from this team. I don't think Fresno State's that good. I think they're a middle-of-the-road Mountain West Conference team. I think this is the kind of game that Boise State should handle. Vegas has been on the number for crazy number all season long in terms of how Boise State is. So Boise State is a 17.5-point favorite. I didn't check it this morning, so I'm not sure if it's moved, but it's right around 17 points. And I figure Boise State's going to win this game somewhere in the 15 to 20-point range because that's exactly where Vegas has had them. So I think Fresno State is a paper tiger, but we can talk about the defense. We can talk about a get-right game for Boise State's offense, especially going into a bye week. Confidence is important. Maddox Madsen, and then get your head right for the San Diego State game. That will be the big test for Boise State in the Mountain West Conference in 2 weeks. But Fresno State, I know we're going to dive into it. There's BJ Rains. Look at you, BJ Rains. You didn't show up in a costume.
I've got it close by. I could, but
I told everybody that you were late because you were still getting your costume prepared for us.
No, someone said I need an IT person. I don't know if an IT person would remind you to plug in your laptop before you go to bed. So, but of all the people that have to frantically call and say you've got to fill for a minute, you're the one that probably was least happy to get that call. But you did it. You look like you should host your own show. You did that admirably there.
Well, I don't know about that, but I could fill 3 or 4 minutes, but it's all good. And there's plenty to talk about in this game. So I was telling him about yesterday.
My coffee or something and let you keep going. You were doing great there.
The funny thing is I sat down in front of my computer like 30 seconds before we went live because I was late this morning. I was dodging school buses and all kinds of other stuff and kids in crosswalks dressed up as witches and clowns. So it was kind of a fun commute this morning. So it's one of those days. It's Halloween Friday.
It is.
We don't get a lot of Halloween Fridays, about once every 7 years. So I expect today to be a little bit goofy. Why not right off the bat? Let's get after it.
Well, I appreciate you. I'm just glad you answered your phone because you could have maybe not just looked up and saw yourself on there not knowing what was happening. So
that would have been weird.
Yeah, that was 20 seconds before we went on. All of a sudden, my computer just literally went blank, and that was not fun to think about. So we made it. We're here, and I thought you'd be wearing a costume, Mike.
No, that's not going to happen. I will tonight, though. Mrs. Prater and I are going out tonight, and we're going to get after it. I'll be really, 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 really old by the time the next time a Friday Halloween rolls around, and I probably don't want to be doing that. So last Friday night for Prater we're going to go out. I got a costume. We're going to get after it a little bit tonight.
Where are you on the adults wearing corny dumb costumes to fit in with their kids' costumes?
I got no problem with that. I think it's pretty cool. So usually our MO at home is to get up and dress up and get corny and just kind of have some fun with the neighborhood kids. So I got no problem with that. I love Halloween. I think it's kind of a fun it brings out the child in all of us. And if you can't embrace Halloween, that's kind of sad. So I think it's fun. I think it's cool. Yeah. If your kids want to be like, what are you doing tonight when you take the kids out?
I wasn't sure I was going to reveal this. I guess I will. My kids want to be, we're trying to go, what's a cheaper costume? We kind of last minute this year, Mike, it was last week. And we're like, we don't have costumes yet. What do you guys want to be? And because we already had the jerseys, my kids are both going to go as Savannah Banana players. And so I may or may not be wearing a yellow suit with a top hat and going as the owner of the Savannah Bananas tonight. So maybe if we get on social media, get that out to them, maybe we can get some free tickets when they come in town.
There you go. Look at that. I'm looking forward to that. I need to see pictures of that.
I got the problem is I got the suit, but they didn't have the right colored top hat. So we had for the last 2 days, I've been spray painting a black top hat, and we'll see how it looks tomorrow. Tonight. But my wife's going as an actual banana. So we'll have the full family, I guess, going as the Savannah Bananas tonight. But
that's pretty creative. That's pretty cool. For me, I'm putting on a pair of cowboy boots and a cowboy hat, and I'll be a cowboy. So I got some jeans, and I do own my own cowboy hat. I do own my own cowboy boots, and I break it out about once every 5 years. So tonight, Prater will be roaming around downtown with tight, skinny jeans and some pointy cowboy boots and a big old fat cowboy hat. So looking forward to that.
Tight, skinny jeans for Mike Prater. I didn't need to know that part, but
probably didn't. But we're gonna try to pull that off tonight and have some fun.
My 8-year-old will actually have a cowboy hat on as well as one of the crazier Savannah Banana players. So he's going to it's going to be fun. I always like Halloween. I was trying to think back to some of our other. I mean, we only probably have. I don't know what age your kids stopped wanting to go trick or treating with you. I'm probably one of the last. This might be the last year for my 10-year-old. He's already got his friends that probably are going to want to go roam the neighborhood without mom and dad. So
yep.
They're saying too much information, Prater, on
the. Well, I'm just warning you in case you happen to see me running around downtown Boise tonight. So I'll pull it off. I can pull it off. It'll be fine. And I'm just gonna. Yeah, I'll be the cowboy hanging out with the cute cowgirl.
There you go. Well, appreciate everybody for tuning in. Again, Bronco Nation News Live here on a Friday, a Halloween Friday edition, BroncoNationNews.com. We appreciate RowPaint.com, all of our great sponsors, and appreciate Mike Prater for getting us going there the first minute or two while we were dealing with trying to plug in our laptop. And there's not a worse feeling, Mike, than plugging it in and knowing you have to wait, for it to actually charge for a minute. So I'm listening on my phone to you talk and counting down, and it felt like 10 minutes, even though it was probably like 2. But appreciate you for filling in, and we're off and running here. We had I listened to your show yesterday, and I take the blame, I guess, or maybe I take the credit. I don't know which one. You let me know, Mike. But both of the questions that lasted for most of the press conference yesterday, I went into the press conference wanting to ask 2 questions. One, everyone's talking about the decommitments they've had at quarterback. They've lost 3 in this class alone, and I don't know how much on your show you guys have dealt with that part of it, Mike, but 3 decommitments in this class alone, 1 to Georgia, 1, I believe, to Oregon, and then we'll see where Traden Bessinger goes. They've had 4 of their last 5 players, counting the previous class, that have committed at quarterback end up decommitting, and I think they're up to like 8 in the last decade or something if you go back further than that. But the last 18 months, it's been a serious issue here with them getting a quarterback, bigger school coming in and swoop in, and we know all about how they're not paying the NIL money and promising NIL money to freshmen. Well, I wondered now that they have the Bronco Pro and they can offer the official contracts and all that. I was just curious if that was, maybe even somebody brought it up on yesterday's show. Is that different? Like, are they still not giving freshmen any money, or now that it's part of Bronco Pro, are they getting a guaranteed contract, whatever? Because something ain't working. And I know Spencer Danielson says we're going to find 20 guys. We don't need 500. I get all that, but that's not, you got to alter, it's a real legitimate question. Do you have to alter your style here because you're going to continue to lose quarterbacks to bigger schools that are willing to pay the money if you're not? I know you want to stick to your guns and have your beliefs and all this stuff, but at some point, I know you want guys that want to be here, Mike, but you also want guys that are good enough to be here and play at this level. And then they, the money, unfortunately, is a big factor in that. So I was curious about that. I asked that. That led to like 4 follow-up questions. And then the one I really wanted to ask, and I knew he wasn't going to say much, and everyone's like, oh, what's he supposed to say? I understand it, and maybe I put him in an unfair spot. I don't know. But he did sneak, because he snuck in on his own on the Monday presser that he was getting hit up for jobs. I thought it was at least fair to see what else he was willing to say on that. I initially didn't plan to press him like, are you staying? And then after he said that, he basically said he was. So I was like, just to clarify, it sounds like you are saying you're not going anywhere, and at least this year. And he said yes. And that led to 3 or 4 questions. So I'm guessing the reporter, thinker, Mike Prater, our friend Jay Tuss probably hated it. There wasn't much he could use from that presser on Bronco Studios. But even though it was just a weird, long presser with kind of some deep topics, and even afterwards, he even said, like, wow, you guys are asking some serious stuff today. And I'll take the blame, I guess. But that's probably a presser that I don't think you would have hated that one.
No, I loved it. I thought it was absolutely perfect. I'll give you credit. There was no blame whatsoever. And I even mentioned it at the start of the show while you were playing around with your laptop that BJ Raines kind of got the party started yesterday. I don't like those Thursday press conferences. It's kind of, no offense, and hopefully the Boise State communications department doesn't hear this, but mostly they're kind of a waste of time. It's kind of wrapping up a few leftover questions, mostly about the Saturday game, a few oddball questions here, and thank you to BJ Raines. We took advantage of that on Idaho Sports Talk yesterday. We turned both those questions. We turned the paying the freshmen and the job stuff into full-on segments. You know that's what I like. That's what it's all about for me. We can sit and talk about the X's and O's of a Fresno State, or I get a little bit tired of beating up on Maddox Madsen or this defense all the time. Boise State football, we've kind of covered all the X's and O's, and when we can get after certain issues like that, I thought it was spectacular. So I'm a firm believer that Spencer Danielson is going nowhere for a lot of different reasons, and I'm glad you asked that question and cleared that up. I thought the pay of freshman conversation was fascinating, and there has to be some kind of that dialogue has to continue, BJ, whether it's you, whether it's me, because nobody else in the media is going to ask those kinds of questions. That dialogue has to continue. A couple of months ago, or maybe not a couple of months ago, about 6 weeks ago, I got frustrated with Maddox Madsen after one of those poor games and said Boise State has to go out and get $1 million quarterback and treat him as the poster boy of NIL, to tell people that Boise State's invested and to tell fan bases that we're going after a quarterback who we think is worth a lot of money. Now, at the time, I was kind of serious. I've backed off on that a little bit. Nobody's spending $1 million for a quarterback. Spencer Danielson, he kind of hedged when he talked about he's paying freshmen. I don't think he is for the most part. There's going to be
kind of weird how he didn't really want to talk about it.
Yeah. And we asked him specifically with some follow-ups, and he said, Mike, I'm not going there. There's a tiered system, but I think freshmen are getting a little bit of money, probably no more than the package that the standard freshman gets. I think there has to be a happy medium, and I think it has to start with a quarterback. And if somehow, some way, he pops off a couple $100,000 and gives to a 3 or 4-star quarterback who can get here, I think that's important. Look at the context of this program. And I've been thinking about this a lot the last couple of days. Did Kellen Moore curse the Boise State quarterback room? I'm not sure that that's a legitimate question. I'm not even sure that there's an answer, but Boise State has struggled so mightily. I mean, the Brett Rippon era was about as good as it got, and that wasn't smooth. There was a lot of times where you guys wanted to get rid of Brett Rippon. And Brett Rippon, did a decent job. And then all of a sudden, here comes the quarterback palooza. And Boise State, for the program that they are, for as aggressive as they are as recruiting, for as high profile as the brand is, for as much bragging as they do about this offense and scoring points and winning games at home and championship traditions, why can't they get a quarterback? I don't get it. I don't think Maddox Madsen needs to be replaced right now. I'm fine with him as a quarterback, but long-term, that's a major problem for this program, and it has been for more than 10 years, guys. I think the quarterback room at Boise State's cursed.
Yeah, let's stick on I want to get back to the job stuff with Danielson, but let's stick on this quarterback thing for a while. And if we hadn't already asked 4 questions about it or whatever, I had one more follow-up, but I did want to flat out say, so do you have to change your thinking on this? Do you have to change your philosophy? I understand that you want to stick to your guns and say freshmen have to earn it and they can get here and make it once they prove it, but we don't want guys that want to be here about the money. I understand that, but at some point, when you continue to do all this homework on these guys and then see them leave to Georgia and to Oregon and now get BYU or wherever else they're going to go, and now you have this guy that literally just visited Boise last week. He's already committed. He's all in. He literally just came to a game last week on the Blue, and then a week later he goes to Iowa and then decides to decommit. There's only so much guys that want to be here you can do, and so that would have been my next question if it hadn't really belabored. And I was like, you know what? Other people have other questions to ask. Let's move on. But I think is still a question at some point. And he kind of touched on it a little bit. What they're going to look at that and all that kind of stuff. But that is flat out something that they're going to have to think about, because yes, there probably are. He says we don't need 500, we need 20, and I get it. There are probably 20 kids out there that are good enough that don't care about the money, but that's just not how the majority of people are these days, Mike. And if you want the better players, you're probably going to, in most cases, have to pony up for them.
Quarterbacks are different. Good or bad, take that for however you want. Quarterbacks are different, but they're also difference makers. And I think Spencer needs to, and I think he realizes this. He's not listening to us and going, oh, that's a good idea. But I think he needs to treat quarterbacks different, because they are different and they are difference makers. And if there's a guy out there, especially with the track record, and I don't follow recruiting that well, but I know well enough, and talking to Chris in some of our conversations and reading his coverage on BNN, what's going on. And so, yeah, the stats, whatever they are, 8 of the last 9 or 5 of the last 6 or whatever it is, it's a significant problem. We used to put those quarterbacks on Idaho Sports Talk, and we would always ask them, are you committed? 100% committed. And then 3 weeks later, they were gone. We stopped putting them on. We haven't even mentioned recruiting. We don't talk about recruiting on Idaho Sports Talk, and maybe we should. And if there's a demand for it, and if you guys want it, we'll certainly talk about it. But in today's age, there's no reason to talk about a kid who's probably not even going to come here. It's ridiculous. And I know they've already got a commitment from a class of 27 guy, if I remember right. This guy's still in the middle of his junior year. And we have to play that game. They can't keep a quarterback for 6 weeks, let alone for 2 years. So it's definitely an issue. And if the right guy comes along, and that's for Spencer to decide, who's the right guy? Is it about talent? Is it about fit? Of course, it's about all the above. Spencer Danielson, he can be as private and covert as he wants, or he can promote it as much as he wants. Because in this day and age, if you promote name, image, and likeness, if you promote rev sharing, if you promote the fact that we're going to pay big-time difference makers, and that starts with the quarterback, that's good. That's a good thing that you want for your program. That's a stigma you want attached to your program about spending the money. And so, yeah, I think Spencer Danielson probably needs to evolve. If we don't go into this offseason with an intense quarterback competition between Maddox Madsen and recruiter number whatever, I'm not even talking about Max Cutforth, and I apologize, but I don't want a Maddox Madsen Max Cutforth competition. I want a Maddox Madsen / poster boy quarterback competition. That's the most important thing for me this offseason. And sometimes that's going to have to start with Spencer Danielson ponying up some cash.
Yeah, and they are in a unique spot this time, Mike Prater, this class, where they're trying to take 2 quarterbacks because to catch back up with some of the numbers. They're just so far behind with guys transferring and leaving, and go having 3 scholarship quarterbacks or whatever it is. So they were trying to take 2, and they really do like Jackson Taylor, the quarterback they do have committed still. So I mean that there's some belief that he would end up being the better one. But I mean there was I also think it's funny that Traden Messenger kid was a 3-star player, and I work for the recruiting site, so I plan on trying to find. I'm not talking trash on my own company, but multiple companies right after he decommitted and then visits Iowa, he suddenly magically becomes a 4-star quarterback. Wow. And so it's like, I don't know how all that stuff works or what. And I do know a lot of times, okay, what kind of visits is he getting? Is this kid too low? Whatever. But it's just funny how I know some rival sites for sure, or not. I mean, competitors, not necessarily rivals.
Yeah.
All of a sudden he magically moved up in a star, and it's just kind of like, what's going on there? But they do still have Jackson Taylor committed, and they'll obviously look to try to, and they like him a lot. And so
is that the 27 guy? Is that the 27 guy? Or the
Snyder is the 2027 kid, but they still have another quarterback in this class already committed. They were trying to get 2 quarterbacks signed in the 2026 class. So Jackson Taylor is still a committed quarterback in this class, and they still feel pretty good about that. And now they'll try to go complement him with a second one. The Snyder kid is the 2027 commit. And yeah, we wrote about him. We talked to him, but like, just because that's what we have to do. But I mean, even a year from now, let's talk and see where things are at with him.
Yeah.
And so I totally agree with that. Yeah, they're gonna have to. I know Spencer Danielson, he's gonna stick to his guns, and that's what he wants to do. But at some point, yeah, you're gonna have to decide if that's gonna end up giving you the best chance to win and the best talent that you can get. And you mentioned, I mean, whether it's Cutforth, as you said, maybe it's Jackson Taylor, maybe it's the new kid, another quarterback they bring in. I think they're gonna have to try a little more aggressively in the portal also, and that means cash. And we had that whole debate last year, Mike. I mean, maybe you think differently this year. We talked about last year, nobody was going to want to come in and try to fight to battle for a job that just took his team to the CFP and was, he had let's be honest, Maddox Madsen hasn't had as good of a year this year as he had last year in a lot of areas. And whether he's injured, whether it's whatever, but do you think maybe, and again, there's still 4 games left in a bowl game, and who knows what's going to happen. So maybe Maddox Madsen finishes strong and gets all this momentum. But I would think maybe if you're a competitive kid out there and you're looking for a spot at quarterback in the transfer portal, maybe you're a little more apt this year than last year to look at Maddox Madsen and go, I can beat that guy out.
100%. And those guys do exist, but it's a 2-way street, and it kind of starts with Spencer Danielson. And I got bugged there, and I even wrote a column for us on BNN about some of the things that Spencer was saying. He's got to stop saying things like, even if he believes it, he's got to stop saying things like Maddox Madsen is one of the best quarterbacks in the country. I'll take nobody on the planet other than Maddox Madsen. Maddox Madsen is the perfect fit for our football team. I understand why he says it, and I get why he says it, but it just resonates wrong with me and a lot of other people. It sends a poor message. I mean, it's okay to support Maddox Madsen. You need to support Maddox Madsen. And there's better words to say it that kind of match the reality, because Maddox Madsen has not had a good season, and he is banged up right now. I think that ankle is still bugging him, and that's a plant foot, and that's an issue. And Maddox Madsen needs to be perfect, physically, mentally, spiritually, whatever the hell he needs to have tools for him. They all need to be perfect because he's the kind of guy that has zero tolerance for error when it comes to talent and ability and the physical dominance that he brings to a football game. So he's not anywhere close. I don't think he's gonna. He might beat up Fresno tomorrow because I don't think Fresno, even though they're number 2 in the Mountain West on defense, they don't scare me. I think you can score 50 points on Fresno. The San Diego State game scares the living you-know-what out of me, not only for Maddox Madsen, but this entire team. But Maddox Madsen has to finish strong, but still, I still need a competition in the offseason.
No doubt. And so that's going to be one of the biggest storylines is how loyal is this coaching staff to Maddox Madsen, and how willing are they to bring in somebody else? I mean, I remember, again, times are different with NIL and stuff, but Brett Rippon was you mentioned Brett Rippon. He was going into his senior year, and they brought in Montel Cozart, the transfer from Kansas, who had started games at Kansas, and they brought him in. And in the very first game of the season, when they were struggling to beat Troy, they put in Montel Cozart in the fourth quarter and to help them win the game. And they were different styles of quarterbacks. He was more of a runner. He had some traits, that Talon Green had, where you could complement the two together in terms of, Rippon and him. But they ended up having a 2-quarterback system the whole year. And that was with a guy that I think had already won Mountain West, player of the year before, and was a senior quarterback that's now been in the NFL for almost a decade, believe it or not, or whatever it is. So sometimes it worked out with Brett Rippon. I don't know what Maddox Madsen's mental state would be if they said we're bringing in someone to fight for your job, but and I don't even know if they would do that. But that is going to be a very intriguing storyline, as whether or not the coaching staff is willing, and if they can find somebody that is good enough to legit push Maddox Madsen for the starting spot.
It drives me crazy because every coach says the same thing about every position when it comes to competition. There's open competition for everything. I'm not sure I've ever heard Spencer Danielson say that about his quarterback job since Maddox Madsen was named the starter. So there's a little bit of a hypocrisy there. And I don't want to pick on Spencer. I think he does a great job, and I think he handles everything the right way. I just think that sometimes his love affair for some of these kids gets a little bit cloudy in his mind when it comes to X's and O's. And I'm not saying that Maddox Madsen needs to be benched. I think he's a perfectly serviceable quarterback who can lead this team to a Mountain West championship. I'm not sure, especially this year with this football team, the ceiling is that high, because I've got issues with a lot of other. I got issues with the wide receiver room way more than I do with the quarterback room right now at Boise State. And I want to start having some serious conversations about. We talk about the quarterback room and a curse since Kellen Moore left. What's the wide receiver room done since Khalil Shakir's left? Who's developed? Who's gotten better? Who's developed and grown before our very eyes? And what about the recruits? And I think the wide receiver room right now is a complete mess. I really, truly do. And a lot of that's because of injuries, but I think a lot of that is because of development, the lack of development, the lack of recruiting, the lack of players, the lack of skill sets. So there's some serious issues with this passing game, and wide receivers are a part of it. But yeah, Maddox Madsen needs to have some competition this offseason.
Linda says serviceable. Yuck, not the Bronco standard. And let's see. Clearing up the Cozart Rippon thing. Cozart started a game on a Thursday night against New Mexico because Brett Rippon got a concussion in the triple overtime game against Washington State. But in the very first game before that against Troy, that was the game where Avery Williams bust onto the scene with the punt return touchdown. I believe.
Yeah.
But they were in the third or fourth quarter of that game, and they were really struggling on offense. And Montel Cozart came into the game and essentially ran their fourth quarter offense to help them kill the clock. And so, no, yes, he started a game because Brett got a concussion, but they went in the very first game of the season, noticed it wasn't going well, and to win the game gave Montel Cozart a shot, and he ended up becoming a big part of that team. And so I'm not saying they need to have a 2-quarterback system next year. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that coaching staff had the guts, I guess you could say, to tell an all Mountain West player of the year senior quarterback that, in the first game of the season, we're going to give somebody else a shot to help them try to win the game. And it ended up working, and they made it work all season with 2 guys. And so I really do wonder what, like you said, he is very loyal to some of his players, and do they challenge him? I'm a Maddox Madsen believer. I think, I do think that he's good enough I think he is every throw perfect. No, I think if other parts of his, did Ashton Genty mask some problems last year for him? Probably so. But I also know this is Boise State, not, Oregon or some of these places. And I think Maddox Madsen is I hate to say good enough. That sounds disrespectful to him, but I do think they can win with Maddox Madsen. It just hasn't happened for whatever this year, and there's no denying he's struggled. I'm not sugarcoating, and he didn't have a good game against Nevada. He is struggling. But I think if they go into next year and he's the starter, I still think, as you said, they can win a lot of games. But I do think it would probably benefit everybody, and I'd like to see them bring in some competition just to compete with him, and maybe he still wins that job and he's the guy, and that's great. But at least they don't just hand it to him going into next year. And I'll be curious what that looks like. But Mike, let's switch over to the job front and Spencer Danielson. I do want to thank a couple sponsors real quick. Rowpaint.com, our title sponsor, Andy Rowe, rowpaint.com. All your painting needs, whether it's those concrete coatings, interior, exterior painting projects, hit up our title sponsor, Andy Rowe, and rowpaint.com. Idaho Central Credit Union, they've been passing out rally towels, shirts at the last couple of home games. So get out there in the Ford Plaza and check out the ICCU tent, see what they're passing out. Cool to see. Who would have thought it a couple years ago? Mike Prater, we're both ICCU members, seeing ICCU's logo back there in the stadium, outside the stadium. They're back on board as an official sponsor at Boise State. So we appreciate the crew, Shelby Clark, the whole crew over there at Idaho Central Credit Union. TacoBellWorks.com. Make this the night. If you're Taco Bell night, perfect night. Trick or treating, need something quick, go over to Taco Bell, and they've got all the great options there. Maybe it's the $3 Chipotle Ranch grilled steak burrito, the crispy chicken strips, and maybe it's the Mountain Dew Baja Midnight Freeze. Check on Taco Bell, a local Treasure Valley Taco Bell location. We appreciate the SON Management Group and the Nicolason family. Hey, if you need that coffee tonight, you're a little cold, getting outside trick-or-treating with the kids, 99-cent coffee anytime, day or night at Jackson's using your Let's Go Rewards app. And while you're there, you can pick up those trading cards. $12.99 is the trading cards. And give me a one-word answer here. Yes or no, Mike Prater, is on Monday morning, will we be able to get the 49-cent fountain drinks for Latrell Caples getting in the end zone tomorrow?
He needs some love, man. He needs some love. So let's start it right now. 100%. Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
All right. You heard it from Mike Prater. Go ahead and make your plans now. 49-cent fountain drink on Monday if Latrell Caples gets in the end zone tomorrow. And that's courtesy of our friends at Jackson's. If you want a Latrell Caples jersey, if you want a Dylan Riley jersey, heck, a Mike Prater jersey, the Blue and Orange store down there at the Boise State Allen Noble Hall of Fame can customize a jersey for you in minutes. And the Blue and Orange store, the blueandorangestore.com. You can also, like I said, order anywhere in the world. You can view their location there at the Boise Town Square. What did we find out, Mike? 4,000 hats, I believe, on the hat wall when we were down there doing our show?
Yes, sir. That's a lot of math. And we did the math. We stood there right there and did the math. 4,000 hats. It's amazing.
Hat wall there at the Blue and Orange store, all kinds of great gear, and you can check them out during normal business hours at the Allen Noble Hall of Fame. And Lithia Ford of Boise, speaking of Latrell Caples, never a better time to buy a new or pre-owned vehicle from Lithia Ford of Boise. We drove around in the Expedition. They have the Lightnings, all kinds of various vehicles. Rain's family love an RF-150 that we purchased there from Lithia. And you can go online, lithiafordboise.com, and view their full inventory of vehicles, and then you can test drive a couple, and you're on your way in a couple of hours there. So appreciate Jim and Jamie and the whole crew over there at Lithia Ford of Boise, and you can check them out online, lithiafordboise.com. By the way, I mentioned Taco Bell there in Liv Moss, and it made me think of Johnny Mallory, and it has become kind of a Thursday tradition. I don't know. I know you kind of briefly mentioned this on your show yesterday, Mike Prater, but it is a Thursday tradition, and Chris, I think Spencer himself said this was on the record, so I think we're okay to bring this up. But I mean, every Thursday, Spencer Danielson starts his little media gaggle, scrum, whatever you want to call it there, by asking Johnny Ballgame about his love life. And so every Thursday we get a weekly update on how Johnny's love life is going. And there was confirmation yesterday from Spencer Danielson. No, turn on the cameras. This is on the record. So I think we're okay to talk about this. Johnny gets a little nervous every week. Spencer keeps pressing him, and I look forward to that every Thursday and hopefully finally getting some updates at some point here.
Yeah, it's always good to see Johnny Ballgame blush, and he doesn't like that. He thinks it's embarrassing, and it's kind of funny that Spencer Danielson likes to needle him about his love life, but Johnny handles it well, and Spencer's always got a big fat smile on his face. So it's one of my favorite parts of those Thursday Spencer Danielson press conferences.
Now, he told the story on yesterday's show about how he used a signed helmet of Ashton Genty as essentially a pickup line to help him talk to a young lady in the lobby there. I snipped that off, and I may or may not have texted that to Spencer Danielson last night to give him the full story, and he may or may not have had a very hilarious reply. But where are you on? Probably not surprised that Johnny would stoop to that, but where are you on him using a Ashton Genty memorabilia to try to get a date.
I think one day we could write a book about Johnny Ballgame's dating habits and the different kinds of questionable uses, the questionable methods that he uses to pick up the ladies of his life. So, to brag that we had a Ashton Genty autographed helmet in the lobby of our work, and he uses that to kind of break the ice. That's a little bit suspect, but you know what? It's par for the course, and one of the many, many tales that one day we'll all have to share when it comes to Johnny Ballgame's love life.
Yes, and it's all in good love because we love Johnny Ballgame, and he takes it, and he's if he wasn't as great of a person to let us rib him about it a little bit, there's others that wouldn't have nearly as much fun with. So love Johnny, and it's all in good fun, and yeah, not surprised at all to hear that story yesterday. But speaking of Spencer Danielson, he also talked yesterday about his job search, and like I said, Mike, maybe I put him in an unfair position asking about it. What people are saying, what was he supposed to say? I don't know. I truly do believe Spencer Danielson is a little different, and the situation is a little different right now. I'm not willing to say and bet very much more than $1 that he's here in 5 years or 10 years or maybe even 3 years, Mike Prater. But when you hear him talk, and this was before he even talked yesterday, he just talks about, I want people that want to be here, and I've been called to this place, and it's the best job in America. Even before we talked to him on Thursday, I've been saying there's a 0% chance he's leaving this year. Again, 3 years, 5 years, I'm not promising anything on that. The situation could change. Maybe the NIL frustrates him. Maybe he does get $20 million thrown at him. I don't know. But he's been the head coach here for 22 months, Mike Prater. It's not like he's been here a very long time. He's been here 7 years, worked his way up to be the head coach. And for a variety of reasons, but one of which being you come here as a GA, you work yourself all the way up to head coach, and in 22 months or whatever, you just say, peace, I'm out of here. That just goes against every message that he talks about in recruiting and wanting people that want to be here and be called to this place. So honestly, I didn't even really need to ask him the question. I 100% felt confident that there was a 0.0% chance, and that when this and people even say now, what's he supposed to say? Things will change when he gets the offer in a month. I don't think so. Not this year. Spencer Danielson is not leaving. He is not here. I'm not going to, go on some crazy prediction and say, can't, end BNN if he leaves or whatever. I mean, I guess there's a 0.01% chance. But I truly believe Spencer Danielson will be here next season. He's not going anywhere. 2 years, 22 months. He's not going to bolt. And it would literally go against every single thing he's ever said about recruiting and what Boise State brings to the table and what he's called. And so, but I asked him anyway, just, I don't know, maybe for fans to hear it from him and to get see what he was willing to say. And he had some pretty strong words about it, Mike, that with what they're building with JD in the future here, he did say, hey, I don't know what the crystal ball has, for down the road. He did admit that. But for right now, he said, and some people go, what's he mean by right now? Interesting word choice. Like all the 3 or 4 trolls all came out after that quote on my Twitter feed yesterday, Mike, trying to, act like read between the lines and all this. I didn't think there was anything to read between the lines. I thought it was pretty cut and dry, which we already knew. Spencer Danielson is a different dude, and he ain't going anywhere after this season.
I'll tell you, 100% agree with almost everything you just said there. And I'll put it, and I'll bet my next paycheck, I'll bet my job, I'll bet my dog, I'll bet a lot of different things. Spencer Danielson, this is the fact as we know it, because you said it. I mean, everything is true, you said, but at the end of the day, you never really quite know for sure, especially when it comes to coaching Palooza. Spencer Danielson, 100% fact, is going nowhere as long as Jeremiah Dickey is the athletic director at Boise State. That, to me, is the biggest piece of cement that holds this together. Now, when Jeremiah Dickey leaves, and as soon as that Memphis game happens next year, the dedication for the North, that's kind of my target date for Jeremiah Dickey. The Memphis, I think he wants to get the North End Zone thing completed. I think he wants to be able to take credit for it. I think he wants to be able to put Boise State and its athletic department in this really, really good position. And when they open up that thing and welcome the crowd for Memphis and that home opener and that North End Zone thing, from that day on, to me, that's the over-under in terms of Jeremiah Dickey staying at Boise State. I think he's here for the short term, 1 year, 2 years, maybe 3 at the most. I don't know if that's going to happen. The second Jeremiah Dickey walks out the door, the chances of Spencer Danielson being more curious about potential job offers. And I don't think Spencer Danielson's the most marketable guy. He's a niche guy, but there's plenty of programs out there that would take Spencer Danielson if they wanted him, even with his niche behavior and some of the things that he does, the God talk, the Jesus talk. That's not going to be for everybody, and it's out there so strong that it has to be part of the equation. But Spencer Danielson is going to stay here until Jeremiah Dickey leaves, and the second Jeremiah Dickey leaves, Spencer Danielson's chances to leave will double, in my opinion, double. From whatever, if it's 4% now, it'll double to 8%. If it's 10% now, it'll double to 20%. I think Spencer Danielson will look for the right fit. He doesn't play games. You don't have to put comments out there on social media that, oh, that's a funny choice of words. Guys, you're overthinking it. You're wasting the limited brain cells that you have in your brain when you make comments like that. So Spencer Danielson speaks the truth. I don't think there's any intentions when he speaks the truth. And it's certainly something to keep an eye on, but it's not going to happen as long as Jeremiah Dickey's his boss.
By the way, I love. Can we get? Can we get? Are you going to go crazy like you did on Twitter with that fan about the tackling question last week, or are any fans in the chat you want to call names to like that again? Because I loved you. I loved fired up Mike Prater when they take shots at the media.
No, the only people that have been pissing me off lately has been the Fresno State fans. So I called that community poor the other day, and it is a financially challenged community, and they took exception to that. And then the BNN column that we published yesterday, talking about Fresno State in the future. I've been beat up pretty hard this week by Fresno State fans. As a matter of fact, I had one guy kind of threaten me a little bit. It was kind of scary. So he wanted to beat the crap out of my soul. I'm not even sure what that means. I don't even know if I have a soul, but he wanted to beat the crap out of my soul because he took offense to the fact that I called Fresno State a poor community. I get it, whatever. So I didn't piss off any Boise State fans this week, I don't think. I can try.
Can I stream that if you guys fight?
Yeah. Sure. Why not? Why
not? Yeah, I totally agree with you about Dickey and how that and this may be a little bit of a stretch. A lot of stuff has happened, a lot of jobs have opened, but like I know people say this, but like there is some truth to it. Like if Jeremiah Dickey was here when Brian Harsin was here, I'm not sure Brian Harsin leaves when he left. I'll just say that. Brian Harsin had a lot of frustrations with the athletic department, with the Mountain West. We all saw the emails and all that, and the timing worked out right. But if you had Jeremiah, I don't think Brian Harsin was looking to leave. I think he wanted to stay if they could have done some things, and he felt like he was kind of at the high as they were going to let him take this place, in my opinion. And I'm not saying he still would be here because that was 5-6 years ago, whatever. I get it. It's been a while. But I think you'd have had a chance if Jeremiah Dickey would have been hired, 6 months earlier, that Brian Harsin may not have left when he did. Would you agree at all with that?
I 100% agree with that. And I've coined a phrase in the last couple of months. I call it Harsonitis. And Harsonitis is a disease of frustration. And when you're not getting the support. And Brian Harsin for a year stewed quietly behind the scenes because he was frustrated with the conference, the president, the Boise State, the fan base, everything. He has high expectations, and if they don't get met, he's the kind of guy that kind of his brain starts to boil, and it started to boil over. And all of a sudden, we had Emailgate, which I know you were a part of, and certain things came out publicly about his frustration, guys. And I asked Jeremiah Dickey about this to his face a couple of weeks ago. Are you starting to suffer Harsonitis? And he looked at me, and I had to explain what Harsonitis was. But there was an incident about in June or July, and I forget what he said, but he showed some frustration on social media, and he was very, very upset. And it's a public crack in the dam. And then what the fan base, after they left after the second half of the game that we all criticized the fan bases a couple of weeks ago, and Jeremiah Dickey comes out in public and rips on the fans that said he was disappointed, and that's not the Bronco way, or whatever he said. I'm paraphrasing. That's sign number 2 of Harsonitis. When a guy like Jeremiah Dickey, who is so well put together and so polished with his social media game, when he starts criticizing things, when he starts getting frustrated in public on social media, that's what I call Harsonitis. And eventually it cost Brian Harsin his job at Boise State. It didn't cost him his job at Boise State. It pushed him out the door, and he ended up going. But, when Auburn calls with that kind of money, that's an easy push.
Sure.
And eventually that's going to happen to Jeremiah Dickey. Somebody's going to come and give him a Brian Harsin type of contract in a big Power 4 conference, and he's going to leave because the timing is right, because the Harsonitis is real, the frustration is real, whether it's the fan base leaving early, whether it's battles with the legislature, whether they hire a bad pro-athlete. Boise State's hiring a new president right now, and if he's a pro-athletic president or she, that's going to be spectacular. What if they hire a scientist who could care less about sports? I guarantee you, that's going to rub Jeremiah Dickey the wrong way, because he wants a pro-athletic president who takes this athletic department in another direction. Again, that could be another sign of Harsonitis. So keep an eye on Jeremiah Dickey. Keep an eye on the frustration in public. Keep track of the Harsonitis stuff, and eventually it will take a toll, and eventually he will leave, and eventually that will lead to Spencer Danielson leaving.
Yeah, I was going to say that president hire is maybe people don't realize the president hire is probably a really big deal in all of this for
Yes.
Jeremiah, for Spencer. There was stuff going on in the behind the scenes with the previous president that was portrayed much differently publicly than was actually going on. And so
100%.
they have an opportunity here to really strengthen that relationship even more with athletics and administration if they make the right hire on the president. I just don't know if what do you think of the athletic director's reaction when this happens on the pregame show, Mike?
Teams losing.
Oh,
jeez.
Woo!
Teams losing.
Oh,
shit. Teams losing.
Oh,
shit. Teams losing.
Oh,
jeez.
Woo! The cannon going off, Mike Prater, 20 feet from Jeremiah and I. Am just hoping on tomorrow's pregame show at the James, we should be okay. No firearms going off near us while we're doing the show.
I'm embarrassed to tell you that I watched that like on a loop for 10 minutes last week. I thought it was funny and hilarious, and you guys handled it pretty well. You guys handled it way better than I would have. I would have cussed. I would have thrown my microphone. I would not have come back. I'd have checked myself into a hospital. That was a very scary situation. And I love the way Jeremiah shrugs his shoulders. Look at his shoulder movement. It's really, really funny, the shoulder movement that he's got. You handled it pretty well. You just kind of backed off, but Jeremiah took those shoulders and tucked them up under his ears. He was very, very scary. And it was here you go. Look at that. Look at his shoulders. That's kind of funny. So his shoulders flinch first. It's kind of weird. You guys handled it pretty well.
Oh. All right, Mike, final thing before I let you go then. You kind of mentioned it, this game tomorrow. Fresno State's offense not great, but their defense has shown some things at times. To me, on paper, this looks like it could be a blowout. I mean, it's a 17-point spread. Do we know for sure? I mean, I've been asking people all week, will Malik Sherrod be the first player in history to raise the milk can on both sides?
1,000%. I don't think there's anybody in the past that I know of.
I'm trying to think of players that have even transferred or played for both teams and then let alone won a game on both sides of the rivalry. I mean, I guess you've had some coaches, maybe that James Montgomery or some coaches that have been on both sides of it. But in terms of on the field guys, I mean, and Malik Sherrod, you know that guy. I wish he was here more than 1 year because I know his impact on the field maybe hasn't been quite what some thought it would be, but he's a great interview and a great trash talker, and he had some great comments. You can go read our message board our website and watch the video this week about his comments about trash talking his old team and wanting to win the milk can. But I think he's going to win it on both sides and be the first guy ever to do that.
I think that's awesome. I mean, I think there's been some coaches that have done it. Kirby Moore, Lee Mark, some of those guys have, coached and played here, played. So, but in terms of player on player, I don't think that's ever happened as far as I know. I mean, I'm assuming
Tyson Maeva, I guess, was the linebacker that transferred, somebody's saying, but I'm pretty sure they lost. I don't think he won on both sides.
That's right. I do remember that.
To raise, I mean, Malik Sherrod could have a photo wearing Fresno State gear holding up the milk can and then Boise State holding up the milk can. If that doesn't tell you how crazy college athletics has become, then that's all you need to know. But what do you see? I mean, fans are wanting a 50 burger. They want to stick it to Fresno. I mean, this is one of the teams that is going on with them to the Pac-12 next year. But any chance this game's close? I mean, I think Boise State has a chance to really put it on them. But again, this is 7 games in a row now before the bye. They are limping into this, as we mentioned, with Maddox Madsen, but also no Chris Marshall, no Ben Ford. Even one of the guys we thought might step up as a backup receiver, Demetric Whitlock, the JUCO transfer, he's out. So you're going to have multiple freshmen, Cash Williams, number 83. You're going to have Quentin Brown, number 25. I mean, multiple true freshmen are going to have significant roles in this game, Mike Prater. Any concern that, they're just banged up and beat up and guys missing and Fresno hangs around and does what they've done the last 2 times they've played, including in the championship game on the blue, and beats them? Or do you see this as a Boise State beatdown on the blue?
Boise State beatdown. I really, truly believe that. I mean, 15 points. I don't know if that's a beatdown, but Boise State should win by at least 15 points. Come on, guys. Colorado State scored 49 points against this defense just a couple of weeks ago. So, I'm not sure if Boise State can't match that with a 50 burger, then that would be disappointing. So Boise State's going to crush this football game and win by at least 3 touchdowns. I'd be very disappointed if they don't. It's going to be a perfect afternoon. It's going to be a celebration of Boise State football the way we know it, The weather's going to be spectacular. The fans are going to be loaded up and fired up, and it's going to be really, really cool. Boise State has to come out and play well, especially on offense. Talked about this yesterday on the show, talked about this today. Maddox Madsen has to have so much confidence going into this bye week. I don't want Maddox Madsen's brain to be lingering about anything. I want him to have almost a perfect game. Actually, not even a perfect game. How about this? A clean game. And that could be 10 of 11. I don't care how many times he throws the ball or how many touchdown passes. Just give me a clean game and give me some confidence for Maddox Madsen, because he's going to need every ounce of that going into the San Diego State game. This offense has to come out and feeling good about itself. The defense at Boise State's going to take care of business. I think they're on a roll. And Fresno State's going to limp in here with a quarterback that they should be able to take advantage of. And I don't see a lot of scary offensive weapons on that Bulldog team. So, yeah, I think Boise State wins big. But the most important thing is I need Maddox Madsen to walk away from this game tomorrow with a massive amount of confidence.
I know 3 to 6 today, Idaho Sports Talk. You guys will be all over this game, getting set for tomorrow. I'll join you guys at 4:15, but I know you guys will have essentially a 3-hour pregame show today before the game tomorrow.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Looking forward to you at 4:15. We'll talk a little bit about stuff. Show up. If you show up with our hit wearing a banana costume, that's extra brownie points for you.
Oh, I'll probably already have to have it on by then, but I have a pretty big head, so tough time finding a top hat that fit my head. So I'm still working on that a little bit. But
nice.
Mike, I'm just hoping I usually like running into you. I'm not sure, downtown, whatever. I'm not sure once I heard the skinny jeans, whatever the description was, that I need to see that downtown. But if anybody's out and about and sees Mike Prater tonight in cowboy boots, a cowboy hat, and what he said, tight, skinny jeans, please ask for a picture with him or something, and maybe we can hook you up with a subscription to BNN.
I would love that. That would be worth it, because that's going to be scarring for somebody, but I'm doing it. That's the whole purpose of Halloween, to scare people, and that's the perfect way for Prater to scare somebody.
So for skinny jeans, did you have to find like a 30-year-old pair that you used to wear, or how'd you find them?
I can still fit into my skinny jeans from 30 years ago. I can still fit into them, so I'm okay there right now.
People are saying, please no, Prater.
As they should. That's the right answer. That's a good answer.
Please, somebody find a photo of Mike Prater tonight. I need it. A free 1-year subscription to BNN if you can get yourself a photo with Mike Prater in his skinny jeans tonight.
I'll tell you, I'll make a deal with you. If you promise to make fun of Johnny Ballgame's dating life for the rest of the football season, I might even send you a picture of Prater in skinny jeans that you can use at your own disposal.
Well, that's scary. But yes, I think we could make that happen. Yeah, I mean, Spencer's all in now on the Johnny thing, so we may even need to think of some things to plant with Spencer to ask Johnny about, next Thursday in advance or something. But
I like that idea.
Yeah, should be a fun show. 3 to 6. I'm looking forward to it. I'll talk to you guys at 4:15, and then you guys have all 5 hours of your pregame show tomorrow. You guys will be on post game. Do we get a Game 7 in the World Series, Mike, or does it end tonight?
You're asking the wrong guy, but let's say whatever goes against the Dodgers. Whatever goes against the Dodgers.
Okay. So you got it ending tonight then, Halloween night, the Blue Jays is world champion. So
nice.
Appreciate it, Mike. Thanks again for filling in the first couple of minutes, hosting. Appreciate that. And we will be listening to you guys at 3:00 today.
Appreciate it, brother. See you at 4:00 to 4:15 this afternoon.
There he is, Mike Prater. Appreciate you guys for checking us out. Go subscribe, BroncoNationNews.com. And perfect time to subscribe with all of our football, basketball content coming up as the season starts on Monday for the basketball team. We got the crossover season going here. So tons of great content on both sides from Nathan, from Chris on the recruiting side, from Prater. And you can subscribe at BroncoNationNews.com. Just $7 a month right now to get all of our coverage moving forward of both sports here. So appreciate you guys. Thanks again to Mike. Hope you have a great day. Have a great, safe Halloween. And we'll talk to you guys later. Again, Bronco Nation News Live, BroncoNationNews.com. 11 a.m., by the way, for the pregame show tomorrow. We'll be live with the James at 11 a.m. We'll see you then.